In this video, we're going to be looking at Seesaw skills settings, adding skills to activities, grading skills, and then looking at the data. Through the Seesaw for Schools, our skill settings are already going to be set up with our grade level standards added, and they will be tagged with priority ELA or priority math in the name to help us when we're searching for a specific skill. We will be using a 4-star scale to represent our 1, 2, 3, and 4 on our report card, with that 4 indicating exceeds grade level expectations. Those go along with the color scheme. So when you tag something as a 1 star, it will be tagged as red, 2 stars will be yellow, 3 will be light green, and 4 would be dark green. If you have any other standards you want to add along the way, you can tag and add your own standards, or you can always add science and social studies skills as needed. Next, we're going to be looking at adding skills to activities. In order to add a skill to an activity, you're going to go to the green Add button, assign an activity, and these are some activities that I already had. There's 2 different ways to add a skill to an activity. If the activity is not yours, you're going to go to the 3 dots in the bottom right corner and say Copy and Edit Activity. Anything you want to change in the directions or anything like that, you can change at this time. Then go down to the very bottom to More Options. Keep scrolling to Skills. This is where you're going to click Edit, and you can search by priority. I know mine is going to be an ELA priority, so I want to make sure that I have ELA and priority. And then I know to look for writing, because I'm looking for writing. These are language, foundational skills. I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom to the writing and click the skill and add that. I will also make sure that once I'm adding a skill, if this is something I'm going to be sharing with other teachers, I can take this right here and copy it and add it to the teacher notes, because skills will not transfer school to school. If I share this activity with my district, it will not transfer the skill. If I share it with other teachers in my school, that's another kindergarten teacher, it will keep that skill. Then you're going to save the activity, and it will have the attached skill. And just note that the skills are not visible to the students or parents, and the teacher notes are not visible. Then when you go to assign the activity, you find the right activity. You can schedule or assign it. At this time, this is another place where you can add the folder or the skill if you haven't already, and assign it to the class. So that is if it is not already yours. If it is already your activity, you go to your activity and you'll go back down to these 3 dots and you'll just say Edit the Activity. And again, scroll to the bottom, More Options, find your skill. You know, this is an ELA priority skill, and it's going to be under the foundational skills. So I'm just going to search for high frequency words right here. And I'm just going to say it's the ELA. Copy this skill and add it here. Just so that if I'm sharing it, if you're sharing it with other school teachers within the district, they'll be able to know what skills you've tagged. And then I can assign it to my classroom. If you'd like, you can take a second to pause here and practice assigning and adding skills to an activity. Now we're going to be looking at how we grade work that's already been completed. So under activities, I had assigned a subtraction video and lesson, and I have 2 responses waiting. So one of the things that I really recommend under your settings is when you go under the wrench over here and you go under new items need approval under the students, I would recommend having that on, and I will show you why. Now, it can get a little overwhelming because if you have a lot of activities, you have to approve each one of them, and that can get a little overwhelming. So in the beginning, I find it a little bit easier to have this setting on, because if you have the assignment where you need to have it approved, you go under the journal, and this red bar right here is you click review, and that's how you'll grade it. So I'm looking at this student's work, and they obviously did not understand the subtraction. So they were doing 4 take away 2. They got this part right, but they didn't really understand how to get the answer. So they were not, I will just click that star right there, and that will grade the activity, and then I can approve it. The next student, I'll look at theirs. They were able to complete the lesson. They understood, so they were doing good there. And I can, assign and grade that activity with that skill. And that is the way to do it when it needs approval. And you just click approve. You can also just kind of go through all the responses quickly and just grade them, and then click approve all. If you do not have that setting, you would want to go back under the activity and go and see. You wouldn't know how many responses were waiting for you, but under each activity, you would have to click on every student's work and grade it. And just click on this student's work and click the graduation hat, and then grade it this way. So the convenience of having that on is if you look at Bob here, if that is not on, so his is already approved. So what it looks like if you don't have the approval setting on is it will not have that scale right here. You'll actually have to go in and click here. It's just one extra step, and it will tell you what activities are tagged. So it's not the worst thing, but it's just an extra step that you'll have to take there. And you'll also have to make sure that you go into each activity and every student. So see how it's here? You would actually have to click here before you could tag it. It can get overwhelming when you have a lot of responses. So, it depends on what you're kind of looking at and how much you're using Seesaw skills. But I definitely prefer to have the approval on and off, or on, because I like to know what my kids are like uploading. Otherwise, it'll go straight to this feed, this Seesaw feed, and unless you scroll and see each thing, you won't know what's there. So I prefer to have, again, those notification settings on, which would be new items needing approval. And then if I have a day where I'm just a little overwhelmed, I can make sure to just go under the activities and figure out which activities that I want to make sure that I've graded. And I'll just go through and grade all of them that I need to be grading. I'll grade hers, and I'll just go to next post and grade each one. And then once that's done, and I know that the activities that I wanted to grade are all the way done, then I can go back. There we go. I can go back onto my journal page, go to review, and if I've made sure to grade all the activities that I wanted, I can just select approve all. I personally like to leave a comment. I'm with kindergartners. I would leave a voice comment for this student, reminding them that it's not how many they cross off here, but it's how many are left. That is the answer, and talk about that there. Just giving a little encouraging comment there. If you'd like to take a second to pause and practice completing an activity and grading it, you can do so now. Just note that if you are completing an activity from the student perspective, but you're on your teacher account, those stars will not show up at the bottom. You will have to click the little graduation cap to grade their work. The stars will only show up if you are under the review unapproved posts, and the students have completed it from a separate device. To look at the data, you're going to go under the Skills tab in the top right corner, and you can view the data by category, subject, students, and skills. It's important to note when you're looking at the matrix and you're looking at the data that the number inside the box is indicating the number of activities that have been assigned. The color of the box shows the last activity assigned and the grade that they've received for that. If it is gray, that means they've completed an assignment that has yet to be graded. You can click the box to see all the assignments under that skill for the child, and the matrix will only show skills that they've been tagged in. So again, you go over to the Skills tab over here. You can search by the different categories. You can search by a subject, or you can look at by student or the skills, each skill individually. Again, each number indicates the number of assignments they've completed under that assigned skill at the top, and the color tells you what the grade of the last assignment they had. So this child, or Abby, in high frequency words had red, so she'd be 1 in high frequency words right now, but I only have one piece of data there. I have 3 pieces of data for her fluently add and subtract, and if I wanted to look at it over time, I could click that. It's gray for her because the last activity I haven't graded yet, so if I went back and graded that, it will show her as green because that's the last activity. But on this assignment, she got a 2, and on this one she got a 3. So then I can go back and look at the skills again, and it'll show it's green now because it's been completed. But over time, if you wanted to look and make sure that it's not just the last activity that they got correct, you can go back when you're doing your final grading to give her the correct grade. If you want to explore this skills feature, you can look and explore in the Seesaw Skills tab. You can create an activity and practice tagging skills, and you can also complete those activities as the sample student and grade them.